Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and I'm here to tell you about my TBR for the Rent Readathon. The Rent Readathon is a readathon that I co-host with my friend Beck over at Mooney Reads by Starlight. This round is taking place all throughout the month of September, and if you want more details, I will link down below my announcement video which goes over everything you need to know. There are a few different routes you can go. You can try to check off all of the challenges associated with one character or multiple characters, or you can try to read one book per character, which is the route that I have taken. That means that this TBR has 8 books on it, one for each of the 7 main characters in Rent, and one for Jonathan Larson, the creator of Rent. There's also a chance I'll try to sneak in some other books that cross off other challenges after I've finished these ones, but we'll see how it goes. First, for Collins, I've decided to check off the prompt that is for queer BIPOC representation, and for that one I'm going to be reading The Do's and Donuts of Love. This one just looks absolutely adorable. It really makes me want donuts, which is kind of a problem because I'm not allowed to have them right now. And I've read 2 previous books by this author, really enjoyed them, and I'm just assuming that this one is also set in Dublin, which is a city I've actually lived in before, which is always a bonus for me. Part of the description of this book reads, a pun-filled YA contemporary romance, The Do's and Donuts of Love by Adiba Jagadar finds a teenage girl competing in a televised baking competition with contestants including her ex-girlfriend and a potential new crush. Sounds great, can't wait to read it. When it comes to Angel, I've decided to mark off the trans representation prompt, and for that one I will be reading No One Left But You by Tash McAdams. This is actually an advanced reader copy. This one comes out November 7th, but I'm very excited for it because this author was actually at a Pride event in my city and read some of this book out loud, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I need to read this. Again, part of the description reads, newly out trans guy Max is having a hard time in school. Things have been tough since his summer romance, Danny, turned into his bully. This year, his plan is to keep his head down and graduate. That all changes when new it girl Gloss moves into town. No one understands why perfect, polished Gloss is so interested in an introverted skater kid, but Max blooms in the hothouse of her attention. Caught between romance and obsession, he'll do whatever it takes to keep her on his side. And then this is a thriller, so clearly something goes wrong from there. When it comes to Roger, I decided to fulfill the prompt that is a book about music, and for that I'll be reading All the Right Notes. Again, this description in part reads, in this hilarious and joyous rom-com, sparks fly when a piano genius and a Hollywood heartthrob are thrown together for a charity performance of solos, heartfelt duets, and a big, show-stopping finale. Just as an aside as well, and I will double check as I'm going through, but I'm pretty sure I made sure that every single book on this 8-book TBR is queer, and I love that for me. For Joanne, I decided to fulfill the prompt for a book about the law, and for that one I've decided to read The Body in the Back Garden. This one actually caught my eye because it takes place on Vancouver Island, which is where I live, although I'm pretty sure it's in a place that doesn't actually exist. It's like a small town that is fictional, if you will. In this queer, cozy series debut, perfect for fans of Ellen Byron and Ellery Adams, Luke Tremblay is about to discover that Crescent Cove has more than its fair share of secrets, and some might be deadlier than others. Crescent Cove, a small hamlet on Vancouver Island, is the last place out-of-work investigative journalist Luke Tremblay ever wanted to see again. He used to spend summers here until his family learned that he was gay and rejected him. Now, following his aunt's sudden death, he's inherited her entire estate, including her seaside cottage and the antique shop that she ran for nearly 40 years in Crescent Cove. Luke plans to sell everything and head back to Toronto as soon as he can, but Crescent Cove isn't done with him just yet. For Mimi, I decided to tackle the prompt book with a fiery character, and I don't know just by reading the synopsis of this book that there's going to be a fiery character, but it seems like a pretty safe bet when you know that I'm going to be reading Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. I've only read one other book by Chuck Tingle, and that was Harriet Porber and the Bad Boy Parasaurolophus. Is that even how you say that? It's typed dinosaur, oh god. But although Chuck Tingle is known for some ridiculous book titles, this one is the first book that this author is published under a traditional publishing house, Tor, in fact. And this one, to my knowledge, is Chuck Tingle's first horror book. Welcome to Neverton, Montana, home to a God-fearing community with a heart of gold. Nestled high up in the mountains is Camp Damascus, the self-proclaimed most effective gay conversion therapy camp in the country. Here, a life free from sin awaits, but the secret behind that success is anything but holy. The tagline for this book is also, "They'll scare you straight to hell," so just based on that, I'm like, something fiery is going to happen. It might not be a specific character, but I have a feeling that I can fulfill this prompt with this book. As for Marine, I've decided to fulfill the prompt of bisexual representation with Going Bi-Coastal by Dahlia Adler. A queer sliding doors YA rom-com in which a girl must choose between summer in NYC with her dad and the girl she's always wanted, or LA with her estranged mom and the guy she never saw coming. Side note, I don't think I've actually seen Sliding Doors, and if I did, I was an early teenager, like before I could drive type teenager, so let me know if you think I have to watch that before reading a book like this. This one was actually on my tentative TBR for the Queer Lit Readathon, and because I put 18 books on that TBR, I didn't quite get to it, so I'm very excited to finally get to it this month. Speaking of books I didn't quite get to from my TBR for the Queer Lit Readathon, next we have a prompt for Mark, which is a biography or a memoir, and for that one I will be reading Page Boy by Elliot Page. I pre-ordered this one, it came in, I was very excited, but then I had a lot of library books, and because those have a due date, those took precedence, and I haven't actually read this yet, and that sucks. I've really not looked into the content of this book much at all, so the very beginning of the description of this book is, the Oscar-nominated star who captivated the world in his performance in Juno finally shares his truth. I am just so excited. I really love his work. I'm very excited to see what his life has been like off screen. Finally, for Jonathan Larson, I decided to try to fulfill the prompt of set in New York, and this one really feels like it's cheating because there are 3 siblings in this book, and one of them lives in New York, but I don't feel like a lot of this book is actually going to take place there. But if at least one scene takes place there, I'm going to count it. The book in question is A Very Typical Family by Sierra Godfrey. All families are messy. Some are disasters. Natalie Walker is the reason her older brother and sister went to prison more than 15 years ago. She fled California shortly after that fateful night and hasn't spoken to anyone in her family since. 10 years later, Natalie receives a letter from a lawyer saying her estranged mother has died and left the family's historic Santa Cruz house to her. Sort of. To inherit it, Natalie and her siblings must claim it together. It does say that her sister Lynn is working as an undertaker in New York City. So like I said, if at least one scene is in New York and she's trying to track down her sister in New York, I'm counting it. And there you have it. Those are the 8 books I am prioritizing for the Rent Readathon during the month of September. What are you going to read, and have you read any of these, and do you have opinions on them? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!